Hello everyone and welcome to my runner by runner preview for the 2023 edition of the Turnbull Stakes from this Saturday at Flemington. Capacity field, cracker of a race, can't wait to get stuck into it, and something new, a new addition to the runner by runner preview from now on starts today, and you're going to find out what that is in a little bit later time. But what we're going to do first is look at the market for this race. So Romantic Warrior coming over from overseas. Hong Kong is the $2.10 favourite. J-Mac takes the ride toppy. $6 also Panco, $7.50 for both. West Wind Blows, another import, having its first start in Australia, and Socom, and then out to almost $20 the rest with Right You Are, Gold Trip, Francesco Guardi, and Uncle Brynn, all at some pretty big double figure odds. But that's what the market's looking like. So we're going to get straight on with my speed map now. And it was pretty hard to do because it's a big field. But if Goldman runs, I think it leads. And either Right You Are or Smoke and Romans settles on its outside. Smoke and Romans won, settling outside leader last year. So I think from gate 17, Mara and Eustace won't want to push back. They'll want Jamie Mott to go forward and try and win the Turnbull again. So I think it could land outside Goldman, but Right You Are could easily fill that spot because it could be stuck out there, 3 wide, no cover. Uncle Brynn from gate 1 gets a really good run. West Wind Blows gets a good run. Panco gets a good run. Romantic Warrior, I've got midfield in the 3 wide line. That'll be ideal for it, I think. Socom, I've got 4 back the fence. That may not happen. Willow might want to kick up and be in Patroness or Bankmore's position, which he can. But I just think Patroness and Bankmore have got more early speed, and if they want to go forward, they can and will push Socom back to the fence and back in a further back position. I've got Gold Trip from gate 18 going to the end. I don't know where it gets to if they go forward. But we'll start with number 1, Romantic Warrior. Gate 11, $2.10, $1.26 to place. Danny Shum, the trainer. James McDonald, the rider. This horse is an import from Hong Kong, and it looks to be a really, really good chance. Now, if we take a look at this horse's form to give you more in-depth understanding, this horse is 10 from 14, so it's a pretty good horse. Has been beaten twice by Golden 60, which is probably one of the best horses in the world, or if not, is the best horse in the world. Beat California Spangle here in the Stewards Cup. That's a very consistent, honest front runner, so that's a good sign. One here, shoe in here, beating Dubai Honor. We've all heard of that horse. Smashed Animo when it came over here. So you can already tell that its form is a class above the rest of our lot. But there's some queries on Saturday, and those queries are first up for a while. It's 3 from 3 first up, but it's got to do it in another country first up, so that could result in a decrease in what it's been producing before, but I don't think it will affect it too much. Down here I've got ratings, so there's actually horse ratings that the horses have been given throughout all the horses in this race, and we can sort of line that up with how they're going to match against each other. So Romantic Warrior ran a 124 in the Group 1 Queen Elizabeth II Cup. This was this run here, beating Prognosis and Dubai Honor. My expected rating's 120. I don't expect it to increase from that, and I couldn't find any ratings for this race or the races before that. So this was the only one I could find. It was a 124. I think it'll run a 120 or around there. So that's my look on Romantic Warrior, but it's a very good chance. We'll move on with horse 2 now, and it's it's Melbourne Cup winner Gold Trip. Jumps from the car park. Mara and Eustace, Mark Zara combined. Melbourne Cup winning combination there. Has to carry a big weight. Was good last start, first up at the Valley. Its last 3 ratings, it ran a 107 in the Group 2 Peter Young Stakes on Blue Diamond Day at Sandown over 1800. That was first up. It ran 105 in the Group 1 Ranvet Stakes at Rose Hill and 104 in the Group 1 Tancred Stakes at Rose Hill. Don't think the Ranvet and the Tancred, it was at its best, so might just be looking at the Peter Young. I don't know what it ran first up, so that makes it a little bit hard, but if it ran close to a 107, then I expect it to run a 108 here. Gold Trip I think is the whole too short in the market. I reckon it should be closer to 51 rather than $20. I think it just has to go back from that gate, and the ratings it's been producing hasn't been great. To the eye, it looked very good first up, but yeah, I think a 108 or around a midfield finish would best suit this horse, but I don't think it's going to be much of a winning chance. I think they're looking for bigger fish to fry later on in the spring, and there's a few good horses here. We'll move on from Gold Trip. Number 3, Smokin' Romans, the winner of this race last year. The Turnbull Stakes winner of 2022 is 250 to 1 this year. Jamie Mott takes the ride. This horse ran 14th last start in the Group 1 Underwood Stakes at Caulfield. Its last 2 ratings, 112 it ran in the Group 1 Australian Cup over 2,000 metres. That was last preparation. Then it ran a 99 in the Group 1 Underwood Stakes. That's not great. That was last start. Its peak rating was a 115 in the Turnbull Stakes last year. I think it can improve off the Underwood Stakes, but not by much. My expected rating's 102. Don't think it's going to be winning this year. Sorry, Smokin' Romans. Number 4 is Francesco Guardi, Chris Waller, Damien Lane combined for this horse, 57 kilos. Ran 5th last start in the Group 1 Maccabi Diva Stakes at Flemington. Its last 3 ratings, it ran a 113 when it won on Cox Plate Day in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. I'm sure we all remember that from last year. First up, ran a 108 in the Group 1 Wink Stakes, and then ran a 110 in the Group 1 Maccabi Diva Stakes over 1600 at Flemington. Its peak came in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. My expected rating is that it'll improve off the Maccabi Diva run, and I think it can go to a 112. Don't think it'll be at its absolute peak, but I think next start, 4th, 5th up, it'll be peaking. So I think 112 is probably a reasonable rating to give this horse. I think it can run well. Francesco Guardi. Number 5 is the Import West Wind Blows. Jumps from gate 8. $7.50 the win price at the moment. Simon and Critford. Simon and Ed Crisford. Jamie Spencer takes the ride. This horse ran 2nd last start in the Group 3 Winter Hill Stakes over the 2,000 metres at Windsor on the 26th of August, I should say. Last 3 ratings, it ran a 115 in the Group 2 Hardwick Stakes at Royal Ascot, ran a 110 in the Eclipse and 112 in the Winter Hill. Its peak rating comes in the Jockey Club Stakes 5 back at Newmarket, where it ran a 116. This horse, I think it's likely to probably decrease because it's coming over here, but if it can run up to its peak, I think... or not run up to its peak, but if it can run at its best, I think here it runs a 113. I don't think it runs a really high number because it's first run in Australia. It's off a bit of a let up, obviously the plane. So I think it runs about a 113 to 112. It'll probably need to improve off the 2 last start efforts to be beating Romantic Warrior, but it's a bit of an unknown, this one. Number 6... Emissary jumps from gate 5, $51 win price. Michael Maroney, Jamie Carr ran 5th last start in the Group 3 Naturalism Stakes over the 2,000 metres at Caulfield. Last 2 ratings, ran a 102 in the Australian Cup and a 102 in the Naturalism. Its peak rating came last year in the Geelong Cup when it won. Did it win? I'm pretty sure it won with 112. I think it can improve off the Naturalism run to a 104, but I don't think it's a big improver. I don't expect Emissary to be winning. I don't have it anywhere close to my top 4 either, so we'll move on to number 7, which is Panco. Jumps from gate 6. D. Oliver, the GOAT, takes the ride. 3rd last start in the Group 1 Maccabi Diva Stakes. This horse ran a 114 first up in the Wink Stakes, then big drop, 2nd up syndrome, 108 in the Group 1 Memsey, and then back up to a 114 in the Group 1 Maccabi Diva last start. That's where its peak came as well. I think it can improve off the Maccabi Diva, but only slightly. I could have given it a 116, but I've given it a 115. But from gate 6, we'll get a nice flowing run, and we'll be running well. Penco's a pretty good chance on Saturday. As we move on to number 8, Uncle Brynn. Trent Sutton and Natalie Young train their horse to be ridden by Daniel Moore. Jumps from gate 1. Now this horse I think is way over the odds, and my Jewess of the Turnbull Stakes. I reckon this horse can fill a minor spot. With 56 kilos, this horse bolted in the Naturalism Stakes last start. Its ratings, Group 2 Lawrence Stakes, it ran a 102 and then it improved to a 110 in the Naturalism Stakes. 110 compared with the others, you think, it's not great, and it's not. But last year, Smoke and Romans won the Naturalism Stakes, then went on and won the Turnbull. Smoke and Romans ran a 111 last year in the Naturalism Stakes. Uncle Brynn ran a 110 in this year's Naturalism Stakes. Smoke and Romans then improved to a 115 to win last year's Turnbull. Uncle Brynn couldn't improve to a 114. That's what I've got there. I just think it's a stronger field this year, and the likes of Romantic Warrior, Socom, and also Panco could probably finish higher than it. But I think it's way over the odds considering the unknown factor of it bolted in last start. How good is it really, or was it just up against like poor horses? But we'll find out. I think it's over the odds, Uncle Brynn. And from gate 1 can get that pair or so closer, so I think that'll help as well. Number 9 is Barclays Square. Jumps from gate 14, probably gets back for Dan O'Sullivan and Harry Coffey. This horse ran 4th last start in the Naturalism Stakes. It ran a 102 in the Naturalism Stakes. Its peak rating was a 111 in the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas last year. I think it runs a 104 or around that mark. I don't think it'll win. It'll probably get back and look to attack the line, looking for further next start. Number 10 is Bankmore. This horse draws gate 4, should be in a non-speed roll, $151. I think if you want a horse for a place only, this one's probably the one. I think it's slightly over the odds considering what we're about to take a look at. So Richard Laming, Craig Newitt combined. This horse didn't disgrace itself running 9th in the Underwood last start. Ran a 100 in the Australian Cup, 107 Memsey, 107 Underwood, which is better than what Barclays Square's been doing, and peaked a 112 in the Australian Guineas. I think it'll run up to the same level as what it has been doing the last 2. I think it gets to a 107 again. This horse is 150 to 1, and as we saw last horse, Barclays Square, this horse probably profiles better in terms of ratings. So I think this horse is over the odds, Bankmore. It doesn't deserve to be under $51, but it deserves to be, I think, around that 50 to 1 mark, not 150 to 1 mark. So maybe a place only, but probably not a winning chance in my opinion. Number 11 is Socom, another major player. Draws gate 2 for Willow. $7.50 win price. This horse ran 4th last start in the Underwood Stakes. The only rating I've got of it is of the Underwood Stakes, so it ran a 115 there. I think it can improve off that to a 116 or 117. I reckon it's a pretty good chance, Socom. This horse will be better suited over further, and it probably gets buried away from gate 2. I'm not too sure how it's going to get luck, and it'll probably be attacking the line, looking for further next start. But I think it's a pretty good horse, and it can overcome all those factors and could potentially win. But we'll see what happens. I quite like Socom. I think he's a pretty good chance. Mar Eustace Saddle Up Duke de Sessa, number 12 for Johnny Allen. This horse ran first up in the Memsey Stakes, finishing 10th behind Mr. Brightside in the Memsey. Last 2 ratings of it ran a 106 in the Doncaster, in the over 1600 at Ramwick in April, won by Mr. Brightside, then ran a 104 in the Memsey Stakes first up. Its peak rating was a 111 in the Paddy Power Stakes at Leopardstown in 2022, but I think it can improve based off the fact that it's had to go back its past couple of starts, and we'll have to go back again here. But being such a capacity field, it can probably get to midfield if it's well enough out of the gates, and I think it can improve a couple of points to 108. I think it can run well, and it's 40 to 1, so the market doesn't think it's no chance of winning. So Duke de Sessa could sneak into a minor spot if lucky. Number 13, Spanish Mission at $301. Peter Moody and Catherine Coleman combine. Bo Merton's rides. This horse was first up 7th in the Maccabi Diva Stakes. Ran a 98 in the Group 1 Tancred Stakes in 2022. First up, ran a 103 in the Fiend in 2022. And then first up, ran a 98 in the Maccabi Diva this year, and that's not a good enough rating to be winning this race now. Peak rating was a 120, would you believe it, in the Group 2 Yorkshire Cup Stakes back in 2021. That was a while ago. Can it improve off the Maccabi Diva run? Yes. Will it improve enough? No. I've got my expected rating of it is 100. We get to a horse who's probably not much better of a chance. It's number 14, El Bodegon. Draws gate 9. Chris Waller combines for Ben Mellum. This horse carries the 55 kilos. Ran 10th last start in the Fian Stakes. Ran a 96 in the Ramvet, a 92 in the Lawrence, and a 93 in the Fian. All those numbers are like down. Peak rating was a 115 in last year's Cox Plate, but I don't think it's going well as it was then. I think it can improve to a 97, but even that's not great. And I've got it finishing last, but not that I'm predicting who will finish last. Moving on to number 15, Right You Are. A bit more of a better chance. This horse draws 16. I think I had it 3 wide, no cover, but it can kick up underneath of Smoke and Romans if it wants to, and make Smoke and Romans 3 wide, no cover and working. So that'll be up to Dean Yendall, but it's a pretty sticky draw. Ran 5th last start in the Underwood Stakes, ran a 113 in the Underwood Stakes, and I've got an improving 1 rating point to a 114. I think it can run pretty well, and I think it might be slightly over the odds compared to, a Socom, who's $7.50, and this horse is $20, but not by much. I still think Socom deserves to be shorter than Right You Are. Just think they deserve to be closer to each other in the market. Number 16, Lunar Flare, draws 15. This horse, trained by Graham Begg, ridden by Mickey D, carries the 54 kilos. Was 15th last start in the Group 1 Underwood Stakes. Ran a 100 in the Fian and then a 97 in the Underwood, so it decreased in rating. Its peak rating came as a 110 in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup when it won on Cox Plate Day in 2021. I think it can improve off the Underwood and get back up to sort of a Fian mark with a 102, but it'll probably when it gets to the Melbourne Cup, you want to be watching it. As we move on to number 17, the first emergency, Patroness, $31, draws gate 3, trained by Danny O'Brien, to be ridden by Jar McNeil. This horse carries a light weight of 53 kilos, ran 3rd last start behind Amelia's Jewel and Life Lessons in the Group 2 Let's Elope Stakes at Flemington on Maccabi Diva Stakes Day. Ran a 112 there. Its peak rating comes in the Group 1 Australian Oaks, where it won at Randwick over the 2,400 metres. I think my expected rating is 113. I think it can improve a rating point off the Let's Elope. Everyone has a good opinion of Amelia's Jewel, and I personally have a good opinion of Life Lessons. So I reckon that form will stack up. Obviously not the A-grade form being a Group 2 mares only race, but the rating it ran suggests that it can run well here. Opened up 40-1, and that was snapped up straight into $19, back out to 31s now. I think it's a pretty good chance, Patroness, and will be competitive if it gets a run. Number 18 is Goldman. Goldman, however you want to pronounce it. This horse is also accepted for the Bart Cummings, and it probably won't get a run. But if it does, it'll be leading the field of Merry Dance and hopefully setting it up for the best horse to win and run over the top of them. My expected rating of 105. So if you put all these ratings alongside each other, this is what the field would look like. Now, don't worry about the colours. Those don't mean anything. This is just off the punters.com.au speed map, but I adjusted it based off the ratings I've given the horses, the expected ratings. So Romantic Warrior is clear, and you can look at the prices as well. Socom, $7.50, Ostapenko, $6.50, so the key chances are right up there. Right You Are, $20, and then Uncle Brynn down here at $35. You can say, oh yeah, that's over the odds. Looking at that. Patroness also slightly over the odds, 30-1 looking at that. And then you got West Wind Blows, Francesco Guardi. I said earlier that Gold Trip I think was too short in the market, and that's why it's back here. And it's $23. Like Barclays Square is almost next to it at 60-1. Duke de Sessa I've got in front of it, and Duke de Sessa is 60-1. So we'll move on to my top 4 now, my personal top 4. And I've got Romantic Warrior on top. I think this horse is class, should just shine through. And if it doesn't win, it's either pulled up lame or it'll be firing at the end of the race, looking for a Caulfield Cup distance or a Cox Plate next start. Uncle Brynn in for second, best value play of the race by far. Interested to see what that horse can do. Socom and Ostapenko, the next best. They're probably even alongside each other and in terms of quality. Ostapenko probably gets the better run, but I think Socom is the better horse. But we'll see what happens on Saturday. That's my preview of the or runner-by-runner preview of the 2023 Turnbull Stakes. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you in next week's runner-by-runner preview, which will most likely be for the Caulfield Guineas. Hopefully Romantic Warrior wins, Uncle Brynn runs a place, and until then, bye for now.